I hope everyone is having a great day. Today we're going to look into the shocking life of Pawn Stars star Rick Harrison. Let's look at how he went from being a TV star to a real-life killer. He went from being liked to admitting to horrible crimes in court. The Pawn Stars star Rick Harrison made a stir when he admitted to committing crimes in court. He went from being a family man to a notorious criminal, which totally changed how people saw him. Are you shocked by this truth? If so, don't forget to like and follow to get the next shocking story. In the comments below, tell us what you think about Rick Harrison and these shocking facts. When police looked in the basement of the store, they made the most important discoveries in the case. The basement, which had been closed to the public for a long time, was where most of the trade took place. It was in this secret area that kids were kept captive and had their names and lives erased while they were sold through the crime network. Along with the real pawn shop above it, the basement was a nightmare world with dim flickering lights and temporary cells. When the FBI found the prison in the basement, it was the start of a much bigger and more intense probe. The investigation team quickly guarded the area and got the kids out of harm's way. But when they searched the basement carefully, what they found was way beyond what they thought they would find. Along with clear signs of trafficking in persons, they also found a lot of useful papers, such as financial records, communication logs, and other things that could help them figure out the whole criminal network that was operating behind it. This trafficking operation had direct assistance from government officials and business owners, as shown by the documents. That it wasn't just a small crime, the FBI learned as they looked into it more. It was an international, highly sophisticated crime group with many connections. The case grew very quickly, and the FBI had to work closely with police from all over the world. There were people trafficking networks in places other than the US. To find the criminals, the FBI worked closely with agencies in Mexico, Central America, and even Southeast Asia. What the inspectors found was really shocking. This business had been around for years, bringing kids across countries illegally and selling them to anyone who would pay the most. The network was used for more than just moving people. The group also did other illegal things, like selling drugs, guns, and stolen antiques. As the FBI's probe grew, they paid more attention to the money side of things. They tracked the money as it went through a number of fake businesses, bank accounts, and foreign organizations. The money from selling antiques and children who had been trafficked went through a lot of complicated financial routes, which made it very hard to find the people who planned the whole thing. FBI forensic accountants worked very hard to connect Harrison's pawn shop to the larger trafficking network by following the money trail. The part that social media and other online platforms played in the human trafficking operation was one of the most shocking things that came to light. The network set up an unofficial web where people could trade children, usually by making the deals look like they were legal. These websites were on the dark web, which made them hard to track down and let the group work almost without being seen. Cybercrime experts helped the FBI take down this system, but the job was absolutely impossible. The thieves kept their conversations and deals safe by using advanced encryption and a lot of different ways to hide. As the probe went on, the FBI started to arrest important people in the network of people trafficking. Even though these arrests were big, it was clear that the group was still very much alive. The real criminals were still on the run and running the network from the shadows. The leaders are still being sought, but the first wave of charges made a strong point. This network of people traffickers can be stopped, and in the end it will be punished. Getting along with the victims was one of the hardest parts of the probe. The kids who were saved from Harrison's junk shop's basement. These kids had been through unimaginable horrors, and the pain they were feeling was very deep. The FBI worked closely with doctors, social service agencies, and other experts to make sure they got the help and care they needed. The process took a long time and was hard. Many of the kids were so scared that they couldn't trust anyone, not even the people who had come to help them. The FBI and groups that worked to stop human trafficking started the children's mental health healing and reintegration, which helped them start over with their lives. The FBI is looking into Rick Harrison's pawn shop and the world network of human trafficking that runs underneath it. This is one of the most complicated and well-known cases they have ever worked on. There was an illegal network in this case that went around the world and was linked to organized crime, powerful people, and corrupt leaders. But the FBI still has a lot of work to do. The investigation is still going strong, and more charges are likely to happen soon. The FBI's findings are a scary reminder of the dangers that are hidden in our culture. There are open criminal networks that are looking for chances to make money off of other people's weaknesses and pain. The FBI's work is a bright spot of light in the darkness for the people who have been hurt by this trafficking network. This includes the children who have been saved, and the families who have lost loved ones. But the path to justice is still long, and the full scope of these crimes has not yet been fully shown. Don't forget to like and join now if you want to know more shocking and hidden facts. Let's talk about what you think in the comments. Also, make sure you have alerts turned on so you don't miss any cool videos that are coming out. The investigation into Rick Harrison's pawn shop is just the start. It shows only the very surface of a worldwide issue that has been growing in secret for years. It is still up to the FBI to bring justice to the victims, and they know they have a long way to go. One thing is certain though, the crime group used Rick Harrison's pawn shop as a front, and the police are determined to take this network apart piece by piece. People were shocked and stunned when they heard that the FBI had found an underground jail in the basement of Rick Harrison's pawn shop. People found it hard to believe that the man who had been on the hit History Channel reality show Pawn Stars for over 10 years could be involved in something so horrible and dark. People who watch TV, people who used to believe Rick Harrison was a real hard-working businessman who built his success with charm and hard work now had to face the bitter truth. They thought the man they looked up to was involved with one of the worst crimes you can think of. The effects of this finding happened almost right away and were very dramatic. It seemed like the whole world had been turned upside down for people who used to like Pawn Stars and liked Rick Harrison's humble, honest image. It was hard for him to understand how over 300 children, some of whom had been trafficked from Southeast Asia and Central America, could be held prisoners in the basement of his pawn shop. How could someone who used to look so honest and trustworthy on TV be involved in such horrible things? At the speed of light, Harrison's viewers lost all trust in him. In the hours and days after the leak, news outlets all over the world rushed to report on the story, each adding more shocking details. The news never stopped talking about the case. They looked into Harrison's past, his business dealings, and his ties to an international crime network. He wasn't the nice, trustworthy man on screen for the first time in years. People were suspicious of him, and the horrible charges against him had ruined his reputation for good. The media wasn't the only ones who were upset. The whole country was shocked. Harrison from Pawn Stars was very different from the man who is now suspected of being at the center of a global human trafficking ring. This made it hard for people from all walks of life to understand each other. Longtime fans of the show were devastated and angry because they couldn't believe that someone they had seen hundreds of times on TV could be involved in something so horrible. People's responses on social media were all over the place, from shock and outrage to feelings of betrayal. People were shocked, so the phrase #not my pawn star went viral for a few days. People who went through this event learned the hard way that looks can be deceiving and that people we once trusted or admired might not be who we thought they were. A lot of people said they felt lied to, like Harrison had been lying to people for years. This was really tough for people who had watched the show for a long time. People like Rick Harrison, Corey Harrison, and Chun-Li were well known to them. In Las Vegas, their pawn shop was almost a cultural symbol. It was hard to believe that a place that used to be known for buying and selling expensive things could also be the center of one of the worst human trafficking operations ever found. In the course of the investigation, more information kept coming out, making people feel more betrayed. Multiple law enforcement sources say Harrison was involved in human trafficking for many years and actively helped move children through his shop. At first, there was no direct proof linking him to kidnappings. However, there was evidence that he played a big part in hiding the crimes and laundering money through his business. The fact that Harrison kept running a real successful pawn shop while also working behind the scenes on such a horrible plan made the truth even more shocking. People were not only angry and shocked, but they were also scared. Why would someone not notice something like this? That person used to be trusted and presented as normal on TV. How could they have kept such a terrible secret for so long? Many people kept asking those questions as they tried to make sense of the terrible truth. Then people saw that this wasn't just about one person's acts, it was a part of a much bigger problem. Human slavery is a sneaky problem that most people don't even realize is happening. In the weeks after the story came out, people put more and more pressure on the officials. A lot of people called for quick and clear action. People started to wonder if pawn shops were becoming safe havens for criminals, and some spoke out for tighter rules on the businesses. After the scandal, politicians started to pay more attention to this area, and came up with plans to make businesses that deal in large amounts of cash and valuable goods more closely supervised. Some people even said that pawn shops should have to tell the police about all transactions so that they aren't used as fronts for illegal activities. At the same time, Rick Harrison's lawyers worked non-stop to handle the situation. Faced many major charges, such as money laundering, trafficking people, and helping to sell stolen antiques. Because the charges are so serious, he could spend decades in jail if he is found guilty. The court process moved slowly because detectives kept gathering proof to build a case against him.